Alrighty, so now we are reaching the end of lecture week number 6, and next week from week number 7 we're going to talk about the second half of the course, and we're gonna soon cover the very giant and also fundamental topic of trees. So we're gonna talk about general trees, binary search tree, and also balanced binary search tree. We got many topics to cover. However, all of them do require the basic knowledge of recursion, which we assume you actually learned already from the earlier OOP course, specifically EECS 2030. And unfortunately, I just cannot cover recursion from scratch in this course, and the best I can do is to really offer you the resources which I think will be helpful in helping you catching up. So I think I'm gonna suggest the resources right at the end of week number 6, and then I'm gonna assume starting from week number 7, you actually are okay with the foundational recursive ideas. And if you got any trouble catching up with the basics for recursion, reach out to me as soon as possible. I'll be more than happy to help and maybe go over some problems with you. Just reach out. All right. And in the next 2 slides, I'm just going to point to you the resources that you should really make use of if you feel the need. Right, so for basic recursion, you want to make sure you can really answer the following 3 questions with confidence. And what really makes a method recursive? And also, how do you trace recursion using a call stack or maybe like a tree structure, right? Either way, at least you should know how to trace the recursion. If you program some recursive helper method, of course, you may not be correct every time. In case the recursion was wrong, will you be able to actually trace the wrong recursive method so you can find the bug, right? It's a very important technique to actually have using a call stack or maybe a tree. And how to define and use a recursive helper method on arrays. So that's also something I assume you know already, but you can definitely refer to the resources I'm going to suggest right now to catch up. So just go to my EECS 2030 lecture site from last year, and just go to this particular week of the lecture. Let me show to you. If you go to the page for 2030 for 2021 and scroll all the way down to week number 12. Okay, over here, this week over here is about recursion. Starting from scratch, basically, how you can think recursively, how you can do the basic, almost like a hello world problems for recursion, about how you can calculate factorial, how you can calculate Fibonacci, how you can trace them using a call stack, and also how you can do recursion on strings, and also how you can do recursion on arrays. Right, so these are all the basics which you will need in order to follow through the contents for starting from week number 7. So please make sure you catch up as soon as possible. And you definitely will find some exercises over here. I got some coding bat links over here. You can also find the extra exercises over there. And I also posted some earlier labs in 2030 in the earlier semester. So that lab there is really about recursion. You can attempt the problems, reach out to me if you got any trouble, or you can simply look at the solution. I'll leave that to you if you depending on how many details you really need. Right? Also I got some notes, and all the recordings, all the notes is available over there. You got everything. It's just up to you to spend the time catching up the basics. Right, so that's about this part over here. And the tips will be, you can also look at the slides, right? You can go back to the site and click on recursion, right? So that's about a slide. You can take a look at the slide to see if you need any extra explanation, in which case you can just refer to the corresponding recording. That might work too, right? And also the Recursion Lab, which I just mentioned. You can click on the link over here. So this will be the starter projects, and this link over here will be the solution project. I'll leave that to you. It's completely made available to you. And also ask me questions if you got any in the Q&A, in the office hour appointments, by all means. And also, assuming that you know about the basics of recursion in Java, starting from week number 7 next week, I will start by going over a few more advanced examples together with you, like a merge store, quick store, binary search, and if time permitted, I'll go over another example, advanced problem with you. But all of those will assume the basic knowledge about recursion, of course. That's something we'll do. And then we'll actually talk about the tree ADT. That's something we'll do. Oh, of course, we also need to finish off what we left from the what we left off from the Q ADT from this week, right? That's something we'll do as well. Anyway, so all is going to happen next week, but between this week and week number 7, you definitely want to spend some extra time catching up with the basics on recursion if necessary. All right, so this slide here listed the challenging recursion problems that you may also want to try out. So these might maybe similar problems might appear in your future test or maybe exam, right? So that's something you can also take time studying them. And fortunately, all of them have been discussed in some Q&A earlier in this semester. If you already attended the Q&A, awesome. So you have seen the problems already. But if you haven't, that's okay. You still have time to catch up. Everything has been recorded. All the solution has been made available. You can just follow the links and then do the self-paced study on your own and reach out to me if you got any questions. Right, so we got 4 problems over here. So one is about the group sum parent bits. And so these 2 are really on the arrays. And these 2 will actually use some extra data structure, right? So 4 problems over here. For each one of them, you can see the problem specification as a PDF. So I would suggest the following workflow. For each problem over here, try to open up just the problem specification PDF and try to code up the solution yourself, right? That's number 1. And step number 2, either you got very stuck or maybe you just want to compare your solution with the actual solution, you can click on the solution over here. That's a solution project I made available as a Q&A resources. And if you're wondering about how the solution I posted works, you can look at the corresponding recording. I also included the timestamp as well in the video. So once you click on that, you will start right away talking about that particular solution and the problem. And you can also find my written iPad notes over here as well. I also linked to the corresponding page. Everything has been made as easy as possible for you, so you can start right away with your review. Right? So I got 4 problems over here for you, and if possible, I'll also try to cover some extra challenging recursion problems in the remaining part of the semester. But I think these resources, this slide over here is about the challenging exercises, and the previous slide is about the basic one. Right? You really want to take advantage of the time right now before we officially start talking about the recursion suitable for the level of this course. Right? Alrighty, so that's about all the resources made available to you. I cannot emphasize more. I made all the resources available to you. It will be really up to you how much you want to catch up, right? It's up to you. But if you got any trouble understanding the materials, either the advanced one or the basic one, reach out to me. Alright, stay tuned, and then I'll definitely see you next week when we start talking about more advanced recursion examples.